Job. Well, a lot of people don't have jobs, but you have a job and you go to work, don't you?
Yes, I do. I'm a freelance artist. I do my own work and start my own small business. That's correct.
Yeah, okay. And there are a lot of people who are from all walks of life. I've even seen, by the way, let me ask you. You know, I was telling you about Fisker Company as an example. Is this the kind of stuff that some of you were mad at, where they outsource jobs, and we have plenty of people who can do work here?
Well, absolutely. As you pointed out, some of these politicians are working, pretty closely in collusion with corporations in order to not only get money for their campaigns and for themselves, but then they turn around and throw an awful lot of tax money and tax incentives and breaks and so forth to these companies. And then it turns out that it's in their best interest, allegedly, to turn around and do this kind of building overseas or to open up jobs overseas. And that's not servicing anybody except for those folks. That's correct. We actually went to protest Senator Whitehouse's a dinner he was having, and there were just maybe it was a dozen or two protesters there, and then out the door comes a bunch of spaghetti and meatballs after the dinner. So
yeah, and the meatballs and the spaghetti were probably paid for by Goldman Sachs because that's where he gets his campaign donations from, or the banks, and he's raised an awful lot of money from corporate America. Now let's take the congressman from next door, Barney Frank. Barney Frank says, I support the Occupy new movement, but yet, you know where he was Thursday night? He was on Wall Street, raising money from a Wall Street firm. So, it's the hypocrisy of all of it, and yet they come here, or they'll tell you, oh, we support the movement, but yet they're taking money hand over fist. Jack Reed, who was the U.S. Senator from Rhode Island, he says, yeah, well, we have to be cautious and all this stuff. He took $4 million from the banking industry in the past couple of years for his re-election. How do you stay? I want to know the answer from movement Occupy Providence. How do you stay?
One young lady who's a Brown student. We've got people who have come down. I know that there's quite a few people who will be willing to speak that are homeless or are having trouble finding homes and so forth. So, there are quite a few people here who are upset, but they all share one thing in common, and that was they were willing to come here and exercise their free speech and to actually share that.
How did this all come about? I mean, did it just happen? Was it like the virgin birth? I mean, was there? How did it all happen? There had to be some beginnings. There had to be some seed. There had to be, besides the problem. I mean, how did everybody know to come to Burnside Park?
Well, it began, roughly a couple months ago. There was what they call a cultural jamming magazine called Adbusters out of Canada, and that magazine put out an ad saying "Go Occupy Wall Street." And that's
from
how it
Canada.
Began. Well, just actually, really 2 or 3 editors in the magazine put out a single ad saying that people should do it. A lot of traditional protesters showed up. They got kicked out of Wall Street, landed in the park down there, and stuck to it. And people kind of picked up the idea and said, why don't we do this elsewhere? Let's do this. Let's take it to the van, so to speak, and let them know our gripes and our grievances, as you say. I don't know. I look around and I see quite a few people who don't feel like their voices have quite been heard yet. So something tells me there's going to be quite a few people finding their way either back into the park or into another park, or finding a way through the winter to make sure they keep being heard. There's a lot of stuff going on, so a lot to be said.
Burnside, live from Burnside Park, the Buddy Cianci Show, broadcasting live right from the statue of General Burnside. We're going to get a little history on General Burnside right here. I'll tell you who General Burnside is. And General Burnside, does anybody know who General Burnside is or was?
Ambrose
Burnside. Ambrose Everett Burnside was born in 1824. He died in 1881. He was an American soldier, railroad executive, inventor, industrialist, and politician from Rhode Island, serving as governor and a U.S. senator. As a Union Army general in the American Civil War, he conducted successful campaigns in North Carolina and East Tennessee, but was defeated in the disastrous Battle of Fredericksburg and the Battle of the Crater. His distinctive style of facial hair is now known as sideburns, derived from his last name. So that's who we... to the Buddy Cianci Show, Ambrose.
Thank you. That's Abel.
That's Abel. Abel. He put Ambrose. I thought you said your name was Abel, but then Ron put Ambrose.
I got hooked on that Burnside.
You got hooked on that Burnside. Abel.
Well,
Move close to the microphone.
sure. Well, first of all, thanks for coming down to the park and giving this some attention. I'm here both personally and as a representative of the Sierra Club because we're really concerned about the injustice in our country.
Tell everybody what the Sierra Club is.
Oh, sure. The Sierra Club is a national organization, the oldest grassroots environmental group in the United States, started in 1892. We have 2,500 members in Rhode Island. You know, we basically have a mission statement to enjoy, explore, and protect the planet. And, you know, that doesn't necessarily seem to tie right into economic injustice issues, but it's there.
What are you protesting?
Well, we're protesting the gross injustice of our culture, and it's both.
Can you be a little more specific than that?
Yeah, I definitely can be. You know, the financial industry and the corporations that they finance, they place profits over people, and they place profits over the environment as well. And so we need to protect both our people and our environment. And so Sierra Club has come out in support of the Occupy Wall Street movement.
In particularly, then allows the company we gave your tax money to go build a factory to build those cars in Finland. How do you feel about that?
Well, I of course am not happy about that. You know, we love electric cars at the Sierra Club.
We think we can build them in America?
We can certainly build them in America.
So why isn't your ire directed at the people? I mean, as a perfect example of America coming together, all of us citizens.
It's definitely part of what this.
When is the last time you let Obama and Biden know that you're upset of investing all that money in Finland on taxpayer money? We've got people here, you're asking for donations for food. Finland, they're not asking for donations for food. They got a brand new factory we're funding. Basically, we're not funding the plant, but we funded. Hear the bad ending.